if Florida State beats Duke in the ACC title, if Ohio State beats Michigan State in the Big Ten championship, I feel those two teams are the most deserving and would be playing in Pasadena, much to the chagrin of SEC faithful who feel like a one-loss SEC championship would deserve it more. When I look at the SEC, yes, they're a great football conference, but I don't see them as, and you hear this in people when they talk about the SEC, it's deferred as head and shoulders above the other conferences, where I feel the margin has been getting slimmer and slimmer every year, where it has to mean something. If you run the table in any automatic qualifying conference, any of the big conferences, you deserve that shot to go to Pasadena for the national title.
Auburn AD making the case that they belong in Pasadena.
Yes, he's calling us unpatriotic, you know, un-American. And I mean, for me, that's a little bit outlandish. I know he's trying to make the case for his team, but if I'm Auburn and I'm Gus Malzahn and I'm their athletic director, I would be more worried about beating Missouri and then having that argument first before going out there and politicking now.
I do believe that the politicking on the part of Auburn is premature, although I understand where they're coming from. We don't have a 4-game playoff system until next year. Quite frankly, I think it should be 8 games.
Me too.
Teams, right?
I'm with you.
Not 4. But I also think that despite the fact that it was premature, we have to understand where they're coming from. I am a guy who believes that Ohio State should play for the national championship. I don't like how they beat Michigan the other day. I don't like the fact that they gave up 41 points. I don't like the fact that they were a failed 2-point conversion away from losing this game. I really, really don't, although we understand the magnitude of this rivalry. I look at Ohio State, however, and what I can't get over is the fact that since Urban Meyer has arrived, they are perfect. They have not lost a game. Now, looking at their schedule and reading from USA Today, where it says that Ohio State has the 61st. They rank 61 in terms of strength of schedule. The Seminoles, Florida State, are 66.
That's the Sagarin.
I'm sorry, the Sagarin ratings. I'm sorry. You've got Alabama's 48, and then you look at Auburn at 26th. And you look at this, you look at those ratings, you pay attention to that. That's not the only thing that's going to factor into the equation, but we understand that they've beaten some top-ranked teams, including the #1 ranked team in the nation. Then I'm looking at Ohio State and Buffalo, San Diego State, California, Florida A&M, beating number 23 Wisconsin. That was a great game, by the way. Beating number 16 Northwestern. That was another good one. Greenies still hasn't recovered from that. You got Iowa, Penn State, Purdue, Illinois, Indiana.
These are terrible teams you're talking about.
Exactly. And so for me, I get where Auburn's coming from. It's a bit premature. But then I weigh it against.
So you got Ohio State and Florida State.
I got Ohio
State. But now you don't sound very confident, though.
No. What I'm saying is that it's hard for me to see a team. Urban Meyer didn't pick the schedule. I don't know if Urban Meyer is on the record saying, I don't want to play the top-ranked teams. Keep me away from them. Let me have this weak, softest, putty schedule. I don't know that Urban Meyer. All I know is an Urban Meyer that won national championships at Florida, and I know an Urban Meyer that took over this program that was just plummeted once Tressel left, and literally, instantly, turned them around and said that, you know, we haven't lost a game. The man hasn't lost a game since arriving at Ohio State. How am I going to look with a straight face and go like this? No, you don't get to play for the national title. I don't know how you do that. I really don't, Skip.
I do.
Okay.
I love Urban Meyer. I would look him right in the eye and say, Coach, you just don't deserve it. Not off the 61st strength of schedule in the country, not off of beating Wisconsin at home by 7 points, and then Wisconsin on Saturday lost at home to Penn State by 7. Are you kidding me? And that's your most impressive win of the year? They don't belong. I'm sorry. If you go to your arch rival and give up 41 points and 603 yards to Michigan, and Devin Gardner throws for 451 and he's not much of a passer, you're out, man. You're not in my championship game. I'm sorry. God bless all those wins. You did what was put in front of you, but it's not good enough to get you in the national championship game. I agree with both of you. I wanted to see Alabama and Florida State. Now remember, Florida State plays the 66th toughest schedule. But on eye test, it's your school. I look at them, and I watched them against Florida. They just dominated. And Florida is just, they fired the coordinator because they're a disaster on offense. But they still dominated, and I see athletes everywhere. I see firepower. I see Jameis, another sensational performance. Okay, I want to see him against Saban. It would be tremendous. And of those one-loss teams in the SEC, right here, right now, if I had to go in a vacuum and just stand back from it, as much as I loved Auburn to win this game, it meant to be, destiny.
Yeah, right.
The best team in the SEC is Alabama. I'd be the first to admit it. They're the best team. They are.
Right.
So what do I want? I still, if you have all these, if you wind up with the 2 one-loss teams in the SEC, I think Alabama would be a better matchup for Florida State than Auburn would. But does Auburn just deserve it if they beat Missouri? I would have to say.
Skip, Danny. This is not a debate for me. This is an education on my part, getting it from you guys, because this is where I need help. I get where you're coming from. And I've got friends and loved ones be like, please, want to see Florida State. Give me Alabama, Florida. Ohio State, rather.
Right.
Give me Alabama, Florida State. Or at the very least, Auburn. And I'm just saying to myself, I understand the SEC is the best conference in the country. I get it. I totally understand it. But if you do that, if you sit there and say, well, you know what? Alabama's the best. And all right, they lost, and they lost to Auburn because the SEC is the toughest. Well, I mean, and you don't have a playoff system. Then how fair is it to, I mean, don't get me wrong, fair is a place where they judge pigs.
You say it
I
all the
understand
time.
it doesn't
Right.
exist.
Yeah.
But I guess what I mean is I'm at a loss for why are we even watching anybody else then? If Florida State, because I get you, Florida State just looks, even though they have the 66, strictest schedule.
They're blowing people out.
They are annihilated. They are clearly an elite team. But I'm looking at everybody else and I'm saying, why are we even paying attention? What does it even matter? And I don't know if you can do that.